we'll put you in front to ask any questions to Terrell.
All right. Thanks very much, Miguel. Thank you to Terrell and all the media that are joining us today. Our first question for Terrell is going to come from Matt Brown. Matt, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Okay. Thank you for having me. First of all, it's nice to talk to you, Terrell. Big fan of your career, man. Like Miguel said, you fought a who's who of contenders. Now you're fighting a young lion in what some people might think is like a gatekeeper role. Because, you know, you have the veteran fighting a young guy, but we know that you're not coming in with that mentality. What do you need to do to be victorious against Elijah Garcia on March 22nd?
Like I never look at stuff like that as far as gatekeeper and all of that stuff they say. I never look at it like that. But at the same time, I realize, where I'm at. So I fought 5 southpaws in a row, so I'm no stranger to southpaw. I fought one of the best southpaws, which is Erisland Lar from Trout, Lubin on down. So, this not new to me. I'm going to just go out there and do what I do. I've been at these big stages before, so I think it's more pressure on him. He got to see these stages and fighters like myself. Just a step up for him, not me.
Yeah, and just one more question.
All right, Matt, thanks very much for that question. Our next question is going to come from James Bell with the Boxing Source. James, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
All right, here real quick for Terrell. Given that you've seen, Elijah Garcia in his past fights and that he fell short in one fight there with the guy that had more experience with him, do you think that is a key factor here in your upcoming bout also, with working with Manny Robles?
Yeah, like I said, we've been in these stages a long time, but I don't look past Elijah Garcia because he's young, he's hungry. I've seen him fight before. He liked to bring the pressure. So I've been training real hard to, to keep up with that pace and just do what I got to do on my end, and be ready 100%, get the fans a good fight because that's what fans want to see. They want to see good fights. So it's my job to deliver. I'm ready for this fight. I like it.
It is going down next Saturday. All right. Thanks very much, James. Our next question for Terrell is going to come from Owen Lewis. Owen, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Hi, Terrell. How are you? I'm wondering, how do you think a win over Elijah Garcia would help your position at 160? I know one of your former opponents, Lara, is still kicking around there at 41 years old. Is there someone in the division who you have your eye on? And just generally, how do you think a win over Garcia will help you establish yourself at 160?
I feel like it's a good fight for me. It'll really establish myself at 160 by him being young and one of them guys that bring the action. I feel like it'll put me in a good stand for a world title soon. Obviously, I still want to fight people like Lara, have some redemption. And but my job is to worry about Elijah Garcia first, and then we get the big fights after this. And depending on it's not always about winning, it's how you win. If I dominate this fight, shut them down, then I can be in, I could be up for big fights.
Thanks, Troy.
Sure.
All right, thanks for that, Owen. Matt, sorry, my internet's lagging a little bit. I think I might have cut you off. If you had a second question for Terrell, you can unmute yourself and ask your second question.
Thank you so much. The other question I want to ask Terrell is, how are you feeling physically, at this point? Because you've been in the game a very, very long time, U.S. Olympian. Now you're 37 years old. Just how are you feeling physically at this point in your career?
I feel good. Like my style of fighting, I don't feel like I took a lot of wear and tear. Like I feel good, and like people gonna be surprised come March 22nd how I'm looking. I'm gonna show it in the ring. You know what I mean? So I feel good. I'm just ready to fight, you know, and I'm blessed to have these opportunities and still be doing what I'm doing at my age and still be at the top, you know, at this level of competition.
All right, thanks very much for that, Matt. Our last media question for Terrell is going to come from Carlos Palomo. Carlos, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Yes, Carlito Fight Talk here. How you doing, Tyrell? And it's good to finally get a chance to talk to you. I talked to a lot of guys, but a lot of guys not in your stature. But, you know, what can we all expect live under the lights, you know, Michelob Ultra Arena, March 22nd?
March 22nd, you can expect me to go out there and be dominant. A lot of times, like, you know, a lot of times styles make fights. I feel like this fight bring the best out of me because he young, he gone. I like people to put the pressure and throw punches, give me a lot of opportunities to land my big shots because I'm more of a counter puncher. So I like this fight for me. And it'll prove I'm still the big player in the game.
All right, thanks very much for that, Carlos. And thank you very much, Terrell. With that, I'll turn things back over to Miguel to wrap things up with Terrell.
All right, Terrell, thank you so much for joining us here. Unfortunately, we couldn't get your opponent, Elijah Garcia, on. I think he was having some technical issues, but we look forward. It's a great way to kick off the card. March 22nd at Michelob Ultra Arena. You and Elijah Garcia looking to steal the show. Any final words?
I'm just ready to throw down, you know. I'm ready to get the fans a good show. I've been training hard. Hopefully, you've been training hard, and we can get it on.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Terrell. We look forward to seeing you fight week for March 22nd. Appreciate it. Terrell Gausha, ladies and gentlemen, as he gets ready and in preparation right now for his showdown with Elijah Garcia. Now we'll turn things over to our co-main event. And I believe Kevin Salgado is unavailable right now, but we do have his opponent. And it's a long time no see for this guy. He's coming in with a record of 22 victories, 1 defeat, 18 by knockout. He's a rising Mexican star fighting out of Casa Grande, Arizona. He's earned back-to-back stoppage victories, including an 8-round TKO of Jason Rosario, the former unified champion. That was just a couple weeks ago, February 1st. And he's already back and in the mix again. So we want to welcome in Jesus Ramos Jr.
How you doing, man? Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Good. I feel like it's been a while, right? You know, coming into this one.
Yeah. You know, I'm blessed. I'm blessed with the opportunity to be back. You know, I'm happy. I'm extremely happy that I was able to take this opportunity. You know, there was no injuries in my previous fight and nothing to worry about. So I'm able to step back in the ring soon. You know, I'm happy about that.
Now, was this your decision? I mean, we rarely see this from fighters, especially at this level, to turn around and going to be a little bit over 6 weeks when you step into the ring on March 22nd. Was this you? Like, look, you spoke about it on the lead up to your fight against Rosario that you were looking for 2025 to be different. You want to be active, and you're proving it already with your second fight within 6 weeks. Was this you going to your team and be like, get me a fight? Let me try to get me on this card for March 22nd?
It wasn't a specific date. I didn't say March 22nd. In fact, I feel like this card wasn't really like finalized after my fight. You know, February 1st. So we didn't know when they were fighting, but I did tell my team, you know, I kind of want to stay active. I want to make up for last year. I only had one fight, and when they presented me with this opportunity, I said, yeah, you know, that's exactly what I wanted. You know, it is only like 6 weeks, like you said, but I felt good. And it's what I wanted to do. I wanted to stay active this whole year, so it's perfect.
Well, you've had terrific performances thus far. You've had back-to-back stoppages. Do you feel like that's a result of kind of maybe being haunted by that controversial loss where, you know, there was many people that thought you won that fight against Leuven? Do you feel like I can't leave it in the judges' hands? I got to go and I got to finish these guys because I'm not having that happen in my career again.
Yeah, definitely. It's more of a chip on the shoulder type of thing. I'm looking more for the knockouts. You know, I understand, not every fighter is gonna be knocked out. I'm aware of that, but on my side, I'm making sure I try everything to get the guy out of there. I'm making sure that I'm doing everything I can to get him out of there. Like I said, there's fighters tougher than others, but I'm trying my hardest and I'm preparing for every fight to get a knockout, to be aggressive enough to be able to get them out of there.
It should be a really fantastic matchup, all Mexican showdown. You guys are going to be at 154 now. You're the co-main event. In the main event, you got two titles on the line at 154. Without looking past Salgado, are you kind of keeping an eye on the champions at 154? And is that kind of on the horizon for you if you're able to be successful against Salgado?
Definitely, that is something that I want. The winner of the main event is obviously the fight that I would want after this. I feel like me being so active is like a throwback fighter type of thing. And now this happening where I'm on the undercard of a champion is also something that used to be done a lot back in like the HBO days, when Canelo fought on Mayweather's undercard and then came and fought Canelo. So it's a setup, and I wanna prove that I'm ready for the winner of Fundora and Booker, and I'm excited about that.
All right. Well, now I'll turn things over back to Andrew. We have some media that want to ask questions to Jesus Ramos, so feel free once again, raise your hand, and Andrew will get to you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much, Miguel. And thank you, Jesus, for joining us today. Our first media question comes from Jake Donovan. Jake, go ahead and unmute yourself and you can ask your questions.
Great. Thanks, Andrew. Jesus, always a pleasure catching up with you. To Miguel's point, yeah, it's just, it's a treat to get to talk to you twice in 3 weeks. So,
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. I know you always say that you don't go for the knockout. They seem to come natural for you. But that said, is there a greater satisfaction in knocking out someone who's never been stopped? And I mention that because Salgado has gone the distance in both of his defeats.
Yeah, definitely. It is. It's a big satisfaction. That was the case with my fight with Johan Gonzalez. He was coming off. He had 2 losses as well, and he was never knocked out. And the fact that I was able to get him out of there, like you said, it was a big satisfaction. And I'm looking to do the same with Salgado. And I know he's tough, but it's a goal of mine.
Definitely. And then if you can clarify, I know it's classified as a super welterweight fight. Is that the weight, or is it like a little more than 154?
I think it's a little more, but I think it's like 157, 158 around there.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The reason I ask is your last fight, you weighed 159. I know you want to win your first title at 154, but how much better did it feel at that heavier weight? And like, just how comfortable are you knowing that you will eventually win a world title at middleweight as well?
Yeah, I felt good at 160. I still don't feel like it's time just yet. I almost felt too good, if that makes sense. And I definitely felt like Rosario was bigger. I felt like, he given the time he had at 160, he was able to kind of adjust to that weight more than me. So I still feel like I feel better at 150, at 154 for now.
Got it. And then my final question, I know you want to fight for that world title. You don't look past your opponent, but as you mentioned, the world champion is fighting on the same show as you. Do you plan to drop a challenge that night with a win on March 22nd?
Potentially, yeah. I don't call anybody out. I don't like to do much talking, but I feel like it makes for more. It makes bigger hype around the fights, and I think it's time that we do start doing that. To kind of set a fight up too, and it's exciting. I'm excited. So we'll see what happens on March 22nd.
All right, excellent. Thanks for those questions, Jake. Our next media questions are going to come from Gail Falkenthal. Gail, please unmute yourself and you can ask your questions.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Jesus.
Good morning.
The Ramos team is on a roll. Abel did well. A lot of us thought he won that last fight. How much does the family momentum, the cohesion, make a difference in your performances?
I believe that makes a huge difference. I was able to train alongside my uncle when he was getting ready for Barrios, and I feel like it was almost like a pre-camp for my fight, and they helped me, get ready, motivated as well for my fight on February 1st. And I just use that energy. He's in the gym with me right now as well, and I use that energy that he brings. He's a hard worker and very determined always. So, I know the days that I'm feeling a little tired, I just look over and see him working hard, and it just motivates me and pushes me even harder.
Well, you can't let your uncle outwork you, Jesus. Best of luck to you.
Yeah, correct. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
All right, thanks, Gail. Our next media questions are going to come from James Bell. James, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
All right there, brother Jesus, what's going on? We've had a previous conversation where you talked about being there in camp with Abel Ramos, but now you're here with the second fight within about 6 weeks, and we also talked about having that activity there in the ring. So, how much are you looking forward to just getting right back here in the ring, and then after this particular fight, probably getting right back in the ring? Well, I wouldn't say 6 weeks, but probably in a couple months, if possible.
Yeah, definitely. I'm super excited, that I was able to come back so soon, because it just sets up the whole year for me. Hopefully getting 3 to 4 fights, and that is definitely the goal. Obviously fight March 22nd, and maybe not, like you said, not in the next 6 weeks, but in the next month and a half to 2 months. Get in there again and make it happen again, man. So hopefully we, like I said, we get 3 to 4 fights this year.
All right, thanks very much, James. Our next media question is going to come from Matt Brown. Matt, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to talk to you, Jesus. I got to ask you about the landscape at 154 pounds, because it is one of the most loaded divisions in all of boxing. You got the IBF champion, Barker Murtazaliev. You got Virgil Ortiz, who was just successful this weekend in Riyadh. Obviously, Sebastian Fundora, Chordale, BOOKER. So many names at 154. Where do you feel like you fit into the landscape at 154 pounds?
No, I mean, I feel like I am up there with those guys. I feel like I just have to prove it. I feel like I need a breakout fight. I need the perfect fight, and just so I can prove it. And I'm excited. I feel like all these guys are willing to fight each other. Virgil Ortiz, he just talked about it, how he's willing to fight anybody. So hopefully after this fight, we can start looking for those names. And who knows, man? Maybe even Virgil Ortiz would be an easy fight to make, since he says he doesn't say no to anybody. So maybe we can make that happen next. And I'm just excited to be in the division full of talent and be able to make these exciting fights.
All right, thank you for that question, Matt. Got a couple more questions here for Jesus. Our next question is going to come from Owen Lewis. Owen, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Hi, Jesus. How are you doing?
Good. How about yourself, sir?
Good, thanks. So yeah, like you talked about, really short turnaround between this fight and your last one. You mentioned no injuries from the Rosario fight, but I'm curious, what does a normal training camp look like for you, and what does this training camp look like for you, since maybe you don't have as much time as a normal build-up?
Yeah, I think the fact that this was a short one is not really going to affect me so much, because I am coming off a long and extensive training camp. I usually like to do, a little pre-camp, maybe 4 to 5 weeks, just stay kind of just to get acclimated and get ready. And then 8 weeks of just strong training. And, like, we don't have that time with that type of time, but I feel like it doesn't matter, because, like I said, I just fought a couple weeks ago, so I'm still in great shape coming into this camp, and I feel it right now. I feel like even in some trainings I kind of to take my foot off the gas, because we still got some time, and you don't want to kind of peak too early. So we're I think we're right where we're supposed to be.
All right, thanks for that question, Owen. And our last question for Jesus is going to come from Carlos Palomo. Carlos, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Yes, man, it's an honor, bro. I interviewed your uncle a couple of months ago on my channel, Carlito Fight Talk. But man, I'm so honored, bro. I'm so honored to have you as an interview.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
And what can we all expect, bro? I know 6 weeks is not a long time from you being in the ring, but you're not no stranger to the ring. So what can we all expect? March 22nd, under the lights, bro, and the cameraman, just flashing the camera.
Yeah, man. honestly, I got a tough opponent in Kevin Salgado. I know he's coming to fight, so I believe fans can expect a great fight from both of us. You know, I'm coming off a win, and I plan on keeping my name relevant, keeping my name up there, and hopefully with the huge knockout, you know, and making yet another statement that I'm here and I'm willing to fight anyone at 154.
Absolutely. Thank you, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, all the media, for those questions for Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, for your time. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Miguel to wrap things up with our co-main and move on to our main event.
All right, Jesus, we won't hold you up much longer. I'm sure you're busy and, you know, just getting ready for March 22nd. So, again, All Mexican Showdown, you kind of answered it, but what are you most looking forward to March 22nd?
I'm looking forward to Kevin Salgado is going to come and bring it, you know, so we can make it for an attractive fight for the fans, and hopefully it's fireworks. You know, I'm excited for this one. I'm excited to go out there and get another knockout for March 22nd.
All right,
sir.
Perfect. Thank you so much,
Appreciate
Jesus. We appreciate you joining us. Look forward to our co-main event. Kevin Salgado, Jesus Ramos Jr., PBC on Prime Video. You don't want to miss that one. Jesus Ramos looking to have a very big 2025, and he's already off to a great start at 1-0 this year. So now it is time to move to our main event on March 22nd from Michelob Ultra Arena. We will first bring on the challenger, coming in with 23 victories, 11 by knockout, 1 defeat. He is the WBO number 5 and the WBC number 14 ranked contender, fighting out of Stamford, Connecticut on a 6-fight win streak. Please help me welcome the gift, Chordale Booker.
Yeah, man, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate you. I want to thank Al Heyman and the rest of all BBC team.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Chordale. You know, this is a huge opportunity for you. I don't need to tell you because, you know, you're ready for this. You're taking on a guy in Sebastian Fundora who is one of the most unique fighters we've ever seen in boxing history. I mean, he's the tallest super welterweight in boxing history. So it is certainly unique for any fighter that steps into the ring with a guy like that. How are you approaching this fight against Fundora March 22nd?
Like you said, he has the most unique height and reach in the 154 division ever. So just bringing in tall, sparring, practicing punching up higher, doing everything against people who are tall, punching higher on the bag, the doubling bag, put it up higher, making adjustments for just how tall he is, because that's an awkward motion of boxing, punching that high.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. But we have seen fighters have success against him. He's got a draw, and he's also suffered a loss to Brian Mendoza. So we have seen that ability to defeat him. Are you looking at those fights, you know, going into this fight, March 22nd? And obviously, I'm sure you're doing your studying and the film work, but, you know, what have you seen that potentially could open things up for you?
Of course, I watched those fights. I watch fights also to where he's done well as well too, because I want to see what he's good at, what shots he likes to throw. But I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to win. I'm not coming here. I'm not just happy to be here. Contrary to what most people believe, what the fans believe, they think I'm just here because I'm just showing up. I'm here to win. I've always been a guy who takes risks. That's why I have a loss on my record, because I went up to 160, and I'm willing to fight anybody. And I'm glad to be back with PBC on this late stage where I can show my talent. My talent is only going to be appreciated at the highest level.
Absolutely, and you've proven it. I mean, you're on a win streak right now going into this fight. Biggest opportunity. What does this fight mean to your career?
This fight means everything. This is the one for the history books right here. This is a dream. This is a dream come true. Like, to be able to fight for a world title, it's just amazing. And then we doing it on Amazon Prime. Every time I think about it, it gives me chills to think, I worked so hard, and finally we here.
Absolutely. So I know we're still waiting on Fundora. He was here, but he's a little bit tied up at the moment in an appointment, but we should have him shortly. But until then, I'm going to turn things over to Andrew, and we'll open things up to media if they want to ask Booker any questions about the main event, March 22nd.
All right. Thanks very much, Miguel. And thank you, Chordale, for joining us today. Our first media questions for you are going to come from Jim Conlon. Jim, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Hi, Booker. Nice talking to you today. Booker, we spoke about Fundora's wingspan and his reach. I'm just curious, how important is it to dominate the center of the ring? Maybe to enforce him against the ropes, force him where he's uncomfortable, and then work the body. Is that really the strategy against someone who's so good on the back foot like Fundora is?
My goal is to do whatever it takes to win. I'm not going in with just one game plan. I have multiple things that I'm going to try to do to come out victorious in this. I'm not going to just only put pressure. I'm not doing one thing or another. I'm doing whatever it takes to win.
Okay, and final question for you, Booker, on that. In terms of preparation and camp and preparing for someone like Fundora, he's so unique in terms of that. How do you sort of get sparring partners that can sort of resemble what he brings? Because I imagine it's a difficult challenge.
That's probably been the toughest thing, is finding people his height. But we found a couple guys his height, a couple guys taller, a couple guys shorter. So I'll make the adjustment the night of the fight, because there's things that say 6'6", there's things that say 6'5". So I got strong partners a little above that, a little bit lower than that. So I think I'll be fine.
All right. Thanks very much for those questions, Jim. Our next media question is going to come from Jake Donovan. Jake, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Great. Thanks, Andrew. Hey, Chordale. First of all, congratulations on getting this opportunity. I mean, I know you worked very hard for it, but I did want to ask, were you surprised that you got this opportunity, being that like Errol Spence's name has been mentioned for so long? And, just the way the industry is, guys like you tend to get burned more so than favored.
Thank you for that. I was surprised when the call came in. I was super surprised, but once I gave it some more thought, and that he was already getting ready for Errol Spence, I kind of felt a bit confident that me being a southpaw would actually now play in my favor. Usually, me being a southpaw is a bad thing, and I think this time it actually worked out in my benefit. So I was very happy, very ecstatic. And once again, I just want to thank Al Heyman and the PBC team for bringing me back here. There's no other place I'd rather be, but I'm super excited for this opportunity. I'm going to show it on March 22nd.
All right, definitely. And then my final question, I know you said, you're the type of fighter, you take risks. That's why you have a loss. You did what you had to do against Ammo. Aside from moving down in weight, what is the biggest thing you learned from that night and you were able to improve?
To be honest with you, I wasn't really doing the best I could when it came to boxing at that time. I don't really want to speak about exactly what was going on in my life, but being at 160 was just something that I made a decision to do because I wasn't giving boxing my all. And now with this opportunity, I'm able to take care of myself. I honestly, back when I fought on Matoso, I needed the money to pay for my mom's house. So there's things in my career that have got derailed because of finances, and that's why it's kind of like a full circle moment to be able to be back here, and that's why I keep saying thank you to Al Heyman, because he helped me save my mom home, and now I'm back and I get to fight at every boxer dream is fighting for a world title, man. It's like an unreal moment for me in my life.
All right, cool. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks for those questions, Jake. Our next media questions are going to come from Gail Falkenthal. Gail, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Good morning, Chordale. That's a beautiful setting behind you. My goodness. I applaud you for being honest about going through things, whether you described it or not. Talk about how that has fueled you today. I saw that smile come on your face, and every opponent says, "I'm going to shock the world." Convince us you're going to shock the world.
You want me to convince you by talking? If that's what you asked me.
Yeah. Well, if you can't tell me, then maybe the answer is you're going to show me. Is that right?
Right. That's really what I was getting at. It's like, no matter how much talking anybody does, we have to fight the fights at the end of the day. Like, without the fights, we wouldn't have. There's no point in boxing, right? Because there's been a bunch of upsets, even just the last 2 years in boxing. So, and 154 is honestly probably the best division as far as the belt being passed around from talent to fighter to talent to fighter. And it just keeps changing hands because there's so many great 154 fighters.
That's what makes it exciting. All the best to you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Gail. Our next media question is going to come from James Bell. James, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
All right, thanks, Andrew. One question here for you, Cordell. You talked about, looking at the good things that Sebastian Fundora does in his particular bouts, but also, checking out his weaknesses. Was there something that you saw as far as say, for example, his bout against Brian Mendoza, where he ended up getting knocked out? Did you see something within that style from Brian Mendoza, so to speak, that says that maybe I could implement that into my game for this upcoming fight on March 22nd?
For sure. All of his fights have it. There's information in every bout that all of us have, honestly, as fighters. But those questions get answered when we have the fights because maybe, somebody makes an adjustment. They see the same things that we see, and they try to get better or improve. That's why, like I said before, that's why we fight the fights. Because it's kind of like chess pieces. What can he do differently? What can I do differently to not be the same guy coming out? Because I'm sure he's probably watching my fights and he looked at my fight against Ammo, and he probably is going to try something similar to what he did. But I'm gonna have a different game plan and a different poise and a different way I come out now. I'm never letting that happen to me again.
All right. Thank you for that, James. Got a few more questions here for Cordell. Next, we're going to have Matt Brown. Matt, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Thank you. First of all, Cordell, shout out to you, man. I interviewed you a while ago on my show, Brunch Boxing, man, so it's always good to hear from you, man. The last time I spoke to you, you said that you just wanted an opportunity. Now your opportunity is here, March 22nd, Unified Junior Middleweight Championship against Sebastian Fundora. Just tell the people what it would mean to you to get your hand-raised fight night and the new junior middleweight champion, Cordell Booker. And shout out to Paul, man, for putting us together, man.
Thank you. I like coming on your show and just talking, chopping it up with your team and the fans. There's no bigger thing. There's nothing better I could do at this very moment in my life. I don't have kids. I don't have a wife. There's no better thing I could do in my life right now for my own personal goals than win this world title. So that's the only way to answer your question. This is the best thing that I can do. It'll mean everything to me and even more to my community. What I do for my community has been amazing, but to be able to go back as a world champion, there will be nothing I can't get done for the youth of Stamford, Connecticut.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that, Matt. Our next question is going to come from Owen. Oh, and I see Sebastian. Thank you very much for joining us. You're able to unmute yourself. Perfect. All right. Well, here, let's do this. I'll briefly turn things back over to our host, Miguel Flores, to intro Sebastian and get his opening comments here.
All right. Thank you so much, Andrew. And once again, we want to welcome the champ, Sebastian, the Towering Inferno Fundora, coming in with 21 victories, 1 defeat, and 1 draw, 13 knockouts, the reigning WBC, WBO champion. Won his world titles last year against a grueling fight against Tim Zhu last March, a native of Coachella, California, and again has been in some amazing fights, including a 2022 Fight of the Year against Erickson Lubin. So once again, please help me welcome Sebastian, the Tyrant Inferno Fundora.
How you doing, bud? How you doing? Everything's good.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you on. Your opponent, Chordale Booker, is also on as well. So Sebastian, I'll ask you just a quick couple of questions. As you get ready for March 22nd, you last won it nearly a year ago, your world titles. And this past year, certainly, I'm sure, has been a little bit frustrating for you. There's been several rumors of different names, different opponents, but now you have a fight, and you got it against a very tough Chordale Booker. How did you land on this fight, and what is the thought process going into March 22nd?
With everything going on last year, that's just boxing. Things change all the time. Opponents fall through, events fall through. That's just the business of boxing. With Booker, we've been training hard, ready to fight, ready to have our first defense for our unified titles.
Now, you are someone that is a great model to look at in regards to overcoming adversity. You've had a tough draw, you've had a loss, and you've been able to bounce back to become a world champion. What have you learned about yourself through all of that at the age of 27 and now a world champion?
Just to do what I always do, just continue to go and do what I've been doing this whole time. We're all professional boxers. We're all trying to achieve world champion status. And I'm here now, but of course there's a couple obstacles along the way, but to continue to do what you do, what you train for, and to do it good.
All right. Well, now I'll turn things back over to Andrew. There's media members on board that I'm sure want to fire away some questions at you, as well as Booker, as he's still on with us as well. So our main event, March 22nd. Andrew?
Yeah, thank you very much, Miguel. We'll go back to Jake Donovan real quick here. Jake, please unmute yourself, and if you have any questions for Sebastian.
I do. Hey, Sebastian, good catching up with you. Great to see you back in the ring. For the year that you had, I know from winning Zoo, then that downtime to not being able to fight in 2024, how much satisfaction did you get in being able to see Gabriella accomplish everything she was able to last year?
Yeah, me and my fight that year, that was a great win for us. But yeah, just watching my sister dominate the division, that was a blessing. We both work at the same time. We both see each other train and put in the hard work, and just seeing her do that is a dream come true through her actions, but I saw it through my eyes as well.
All right, cool. Matt said I'm going to be in a greedy pig, so I'm going to get off. Thank you very much, and great to see you on March 22nd.
All right, thanks, Jake. Our next media question is going to come from Cynthia Conti. Cynthia, please unmute yourself, and you can ask your question.
Hi, Sebastian. Good to see you back in the ring. We were just talking about your sister. Since you've had the whole year, the fallouts of fights, what are things that you and your sister talk about? Since you both have now made history as the only brother and sister undisputed champions, what kind of advice does she give you? Because when you're sitting there ready to fight and it falls out, she understands what you're going through. What's the kind of conversations that go back and forth between you two?
Just to do what we always do. She sees everything we do. She's almost like my dad's second hand, or I'm the second hand for her fight. We know what we do in the ring. We see everything we do. It's just to go out and prove to everybody else what we've been doing.
And then lastly, you talked about the difficulties of fights falling out. And, that is, it does suffer mentally on you. What do you do for yourself? What do you tell yourself? What do you do to get back in there? Because you're going to go in and put your belt on the line for the first time against a very tough opponent in Booker.
I don't see anything crazy negative or affects me mentally. I think if anything, it just takes some time, but the whole time I'm training, it's nothing crazy for me. all boxers train all year round. This is not a seasonal sport, so it's just continue to do what we do, and when the fight comes, we take it.
Next media question is going to come from James Bell. James, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
All right, here, one question for Sebastian here. You talked about there earlier about the inactivity, but, you're still there as the WBC and WBO super welterweight champion. So what are you looking to do here for March 22nd to, kind of like have your name stamped there as not just only in there the top 5, but show that you could be the #1 fighter at 154 pounds?
I just got to do what I always do. Win, put on a good performance, and just do my job, like always.
All right, thanks very much, James. We have time for just a couple more media questions here. Next up, Jim Conlon, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Hi, Sebastian. I suppose, Sebastian, you mentioned about the business of boxing, but we can't get away from the possibility of the potential dream fights maybe in the future of Earl or Bud. As far as you're concerned, is the door open? As far as you're concerned in the future, is it always open, or is that door closed now in terms of Spence or Crawford for you?
Those are big fights. Those doors are always open, I love a fight between the two, either of them. This division's very stacked. We have lots of talent. You'll see it March 22nd with our fight. But I'm excited for whoever we have next as well, too.
All right, excellent. Thanks for that, Jim. And our last media question for today is going to come from Matt Brown. Matt, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Sebastian, I gotta ask you, what happened with the whole Errol Spence saga? Obviously, we thought you were coming back in October, then November, then December, then March, and then I'm hearing June or July. What happened from your end, and what do you know about what happened with Errol Spence Jr.?
We were ready to fight. They kept just switching the dates. I don't know what happened on Spence's. I can't speak on Spence's behalf, but we were ready to fight. The dates kept changing for whatever reason, but I don't know. We were training since May of last year for whatever was to come. They gave us a name like Spence. It didn't happen, but here we are now, March 22nd with Booker. Big, good fight in Vegas, and we're ready.
All right, excellent. Thanks for that, Matt. And thanks to all the media that joined us today. Thank you as well to both Sebastian and Chordale for taking the time. With that, I'll turn things back over to our host, Miguel Flores, to wrap things up.
All right, of course. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you to all the media members joining us. We'll get to final comments from both men. Chordale, I'll start with you first. March 22nd, as you mentioned, opportunity of a lifetime. There's no place, no position you'd rather be. March 22nd, what goes down?
March 22nd, you can expect me to go out there. And like I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to win, whether that's fight inside, fight on the outside, move my feet, move my head. I'm doing anything I can. This is the biggest opportunity of my lifetime. Every boxer, this is what we dream of. Any boxer who is in the amateurs, this is what you're dreaming of. Like, you want to turn pro and you want to be able to fight for a world title. And I'm doing it in Las Vegas and on Amazon Prime. I couldn't have dreamed of a better opportunity. And I'm actually I'm trying to do something. My biggest task against the tallest task, literally and figuratively, on March 22nd.
All right. Thank you so much, Chordale. And now I'll turn things over to the champ. Sebastian Fundora, you were once in Booker's position before. You were the hunter. You were looking to become a champion. Now you are the hunted, being a world champion. March 22nd, what can fans expect in the main event?
I expect a great fight. Fundora always brings a great fight. And now he has titles, so now it's time to defend them. So I'm happy to have my first title defense in Las Vegas with Booker, and it's going to be a great night for boxing.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to all the fighters that joined us on our virtual press conference. We very much look forward to March 22nd, PBC Championship Boxing on Prime Video. You don't want to miss it from Michelob Ultra Arena in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. March 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you fight week for March 22nd.
Thank you.